Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. Last October, advertising holding company WPP took the ad industry by surprise when it merged two of its agencies, Wunderman Thompson and VMLYR, to form VML. Interestingly, these two creative agencies were product of previous mergers done by WPP back in 2018. The new APAC Co-CEOs, Audrey Kuah and Yi Chung Tae, were given the charge of the region just a couple of months later. Audrey was visiting Mumbai recently, a market that she says she loves to visit. We spoke to her about forming VML, why it made sense, what were the key challenges in doing so, and industry reaction to WPP killing brand JWT. Audrey, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you.
Audrey, it was just in October that WPP announced this major evolution of VMLYR merging with Wunderman Thompson. It's been 8 months.
Yep.
How is the new agency over the past 8 months?
Well, maybe I'll start with a little anecdote, right?
Yeah.
So when we merged, in one of our markets, we were both pitching for a piece of business, right? And when the news was announced, we both actually at the same time got into the shortlist. And it was two of us. And the client said, we actually like both ideas. And since you're now coming together, can we get both? Because if not, we would have had to choose one or the other. And we felt the decision would be suboptimal, right? So we actually picked up the business collectively. And then we're bringing the work together now. And then we've got a very happy client. So like I say, interesting anecdote. But when the news was announced and when that pitch was happening and we, like I said, got news that we won, that was a very nice story to tell the teams because it was really that we're bringing the best of both, right? We had brand and creative, we have data and tech and all that. In today's world, clients want to see that come together holistically, right? And we picked up that business. So I think that was a very heartwarming start to that story, right? But I think globally, when we brought the two companies together, and the story replicates across the world, is that we actually, as two companies, were already working together on almost 50% of our clients, doing different parts of the business. So sometimes, VMLYR will be doing, say, brand and commerce, and we were doing data and marketing transformation and technology, right? So we were actually working together already on more than 50% of our business. So I think when we came together, a couple of our principles was we will start with where we were, together already and build from that because that's your fastest proof points. Teams feel comfortable because they were already working together, right? So we started with a lot of that kind of work and collaboration and building. And like I said, a merger of this size will not always be, very easy. So I think some of the, tougher parts where we were looking at how we bring teams together, be better together and all that, we still got through that.
And it is formally operational, I believe, from January 2024.
Yeah.
Around the same time, you were announced as the co-CEO
yes, with my colleague,
of VML. Tell us, what were some of the initial challenges that you had to address as the co-CEO?
I think some of the initial challenges was really bringing two halves together, right? So in APAC specifically, we were both about 2,500 people, right? Basically operating quite obviously separately in the past. So one of the things me and Yi Chung agreed at the outset was, we would kind of start bringing people together and actually as quickly as March, which is really fast if you think of mergers of a certain scale. Yeah. In March, we brought all our CEOs, all our capability leaders, all practice leaders into Singapore for a summit because we felt that the fastest way for people to get to know and learn and to work together is to actually know each other, right? So we managed to bring everybody in. And like I said, huge, fantastic sharing.
I'll tell you something, when the announcement came in, there were a lot of articles and blogs written on RIP Creativity or RIP Creative Agency, Digital Triumphs Again. Being a leader at VML, your talent is reading all of this.
Yeah.
How do you address, something like this coming their way when the agencies are going through a merger? And how do you, answer some of your clients who are reading stories like this? Because JWT was an agency, a legacy agency that many creatives and some of the glorious creative peoples from the industry have worked, are passionately attached to. So how do you deal with that?
Well, firstly, I'm an ex-JWT person. So I was born in JWT, literally, right? So my first step into advertising was in JWT. So,
Wow.
So interestingly enough, I've always said I felt very comfortable addressing, some of the departures of fabled names, right? And I always say this, I said, we have brought genuinely the best of all these brands. Y&R, for example, was world-renowned for brand asset valuator, right? A way of looking at brands as value. And that was when it was launched in the 50s, was a concept like crazy, like you can value brands. Today, brand finance, brand Z and all this built off the back, right, of that kind of thinking. Brand asset valuator in the VML world is front and center for our strategic planning process, okay? It's right there still. So has it gone away? Absolutely not. It still powers, right, how we think and feel. JWT, as a young planner, when I joined, one of the most inspiring pieces of JWT was the briefing template. Very simple. It has to be one page because we want briefing to be more inspiring. It's brainstorm. It's a start point. It is not the end. It's not the questions to answer. Today, globally, the VML new creative briefing template, it's a one-pager inspired by that, right? So if you like. And so on. VML, right? A great energy, right? In being one of the biggest agencies in the US, driving integrated CX, creative, and all of that. We bring that spirit in the way we build connected brands end-to-end work, right? Wunderman's history is data, tech, CRM. Lester Wunderman actually pioneered the postcode, the concept of using zip codes for direct marketing. Today, if you look at the work we do in commerce, omnichannel, data, CRM, one of the critical variables in a database is still your postcode. I'll come back to India again. We have very, very long-standing relationships. So again, I was here when I was announcing, so I called some clients, I spoke personally and I informed them. And a lovely one client whom I think we've been working with for 80 years, something like that, amazing. And he said, in whatever avatar you are, you've always done well by our business. And I don't see this changing, right? I mean, JWT as well, it was HDA, then it was JWT. So it's gone through like some naming convention change, right? But the client was lovely. The client just said, we ourselves have changed, right? We've evolved. You guys have evolved alongside, which is why we can keep an 80-year-old partnership. And his point is, we will continue to evolve. And as long as you do right by our business or by our brand, and he loved his beautiful line. He says, whatever avatar you're known, you are still my partner, right? So that's a lovely phrase. And that's how I communicate to teams, that we haven't lost the best of us, right? They look a little bit different, but it is still there, front and center.
That's wonderfully put. But Audrey, you are someone who visits India market very often.
Yes.
A crucial market for VML. Tell us your expectations from the country.
Well, firstly, macroeconomic conditions, country is rocking it. So my expectations of the market, and very ambitious companies, companies who kind of want to punch above that, more than punch above there, but really make their mark, right, in the category or in industry, growing penetration, that kind of very bold and ambitious kind of thinking. So my point to the team is, when I sit with our clients, I feel that, ambition. So how do we as a company step up as the ambitious partner as well, right? And so my expectations for the country, like I said, is better creativity, better solutions, more innovations. And I call India, in technology, is what a full stack, right? You can be a full stack developer or a full stack software person. India for us is a full stack market, right? We have everything from strategy, creative, planning, but we have an amazing marketing technology backbone, data analytics, Gen AI, commerce. We do commerce platforms that, are hard enterprise level work, right? So as a full stack market paired with very positive macro factors and very ambitious clients, to me, growth should be,
great formula for growth.
Unlimited. Unlimited is the word.
Audrey, you are someone who has, of course, worked in the agency business to move over to the client side and then coming back to the agency business. From fresh set of eyes, how do you look at, the entire business today? What are some of the challenges and where lie the opportunities?
I will start with opportunities first, right? The agency business has always been at the edge of new, whether it's new technology, new ways of looking at things, new brands, etc., right? It's always been at that edge. You know, I said that in all my years of working in the business, in the agency, technology, I experienced it first in an agency, right? Which is sometimes quite hard to believe, but perhaps, you know, it's just the nature of people, right? I first looked at AI and machine learning and all that in an agency, right? And clients were still, you know, our clients were fascinated, like, hey, what's that? What's that, right?
Wow. Well, all the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for this insightful conversation.
Thank you very much. Very, very nice to meet you.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are joined in by Meghna Agarwal, who is one of the co-founders of workspace provider indiqube. She is speaking with us about what are some of the key trends shaping the co-working space industry, indiqube's growth and expansion plans, and more. Welcome back. indiqube is one of India's premier flexible workplace provider that was founded by Rishi Das and Meghna Agarwal. It was built on the thought of changing and reimagining the limits of commercial real estate and provide workspaces for everyone. Today, it caters to unique needs of startups, unicorns, and even Fortune 500 companies. So what sets indiqube apart and makes it future ready? We are joined in by co-founder Meghna Agarwal to know more. Joining us in a special chat, we have Meghna Agarwal, who is one of the co-founders of co-working space provider indiqube. She is speaking with us about what are some of the trends shaping the co-working space industry, indiqube's growth and expansion plans, and more. Meghna, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, straight off the bat, if you can share with us, what are some of the trends shaping the co-working space industry today in India?
Okay. So, I mean, before I start with the co-working industry, let me take a step back and tell you about the evolution of the real estate spaces. Yeah. So, when we talk about office spaces, we talk about, okay, I mean, I want an office space with a certain square feet, fixed lock-in time, and a fixed pricing, right? So, everything is very rigid, very fixed. There is no concept of flexibility in the system. Even in terms of designs, you will have a curvilinear workstation, bigger workstation, and you know, the people would be working in silos. So over a period of time, you know, the way you have seen disruption in other industries like your fintech or your edtech, you know, the same transformation was happening in real estate. People believe that because of the uncertainty in the businesses, external factors and all, they wanted a pay-as-you-go model. They do not want to, you know, pay for the workspaces which they are not using it. They want flexibility in the system. Yeah. Plus, even the curvilinear was replaced by linear workstation. They were more collaborative and a lot of creative zones which were incorporated in the layout. You know, so all those trends were changing. And when we started indiqube, so I can fairly say it was like changing the consumer behavior. And when the COVID came, then the narrative was the offices are going to be passé, everybody would work from home. And then, you know, so for example, why do you need an office? You need office for your talent. So people realized that office is here to stay. It will be hybrid model. Employees wanted employees to come to office, but employees do not want to come to the offices, right? And so these were certain trends which you're seeing. Also, there was a lot of, initially, the talent would go where the work is, but now the work is going where the talent is. So you would see a resurgence of a lot of tier 2, tier 3 cities also. So, all these trends were happening. Also, post-COVID, what happened, a lot of MNCs, like the way the temping business has grown, the way they have these 20-25% of their manpower on the temping. Similarly, they understood that the 20-25% minimum of their real estate portfolio has to be flexible office spaces. You know, so all those trends were happening. So still, I would say the real estate is undergoing transformation. You know, we are still yet to see a lot of trends which are changing.
Okay, Meghna, if you can share with us, what sets indiqube apart?
So to start with, we do not call ourselves as a co-working company, okay? We call us as a workspace solutions company. We provide full stack of services, starting from plug and play, you can call it enterprise model, co-working model, going up till interiors, renovation, upgradation, green solutions, services and technology. So it's entire gamut of services which we cover. So that kind of sets us apart itself, you know. And both me and my co-founder Rishi believes that it's not a real estate play, it's a services play. So we've divided, for example, into hardware, software, and the application layer. So hardware is your infra, the software is the interiors and the fit out, then application is your food and transport, the services like food, transport, parking management, right? So this is what it is. And then we have competition in each every layer, but it is a full stack of services. So the way we're approaching this space, I think, is quite different.
So since you mentioned that, you know, you look at it, your approach is more of a service approach, that comes with a lot of demands. Can you tell, you know, some of the, you know, most unique demands made by, you know, some of the clients using indiqube space?
So we have a diverse client base, like we have more than 600 clients, you know, and we cater to each and every client, whether it is a one-seater or more than 1,000-seater. So there are quite a lot of demand which comes. I mean, what I could think of is there's one jewelry platform company which used to work with, and they have taken office spaces. So they would have those expensive designer jewelry and all. So they wanted us to, in their office spaces, they want us to make those hideous, you know, disguised locker. Nobody could see, and so that they can put all their jewelry system out there with the security system and all. And as a visitor, nobody could see it. It looks like an office space or a regular wall, but there would be a hidden door, and you know, so that's how kind of
like the one we see in movies.
Movies, exactly. So we kind of did that. So it was a little, you know, unique demand, which I would say. And then I was like, okay, and we actually did it for them.
What are some of the challenges when you were trying to scale up, and if you can also share that journey with us?
Getting the product right takes its own sweet time. So that is what it is. And we want to capture one market. Like the Bangalore is a fairly big market. To give you data, you have what 40 million square feet, which is absorbed across India, commercial real estate. Out of 40 million square feet, 19 million is in Bangalore. So you can imagine Bangalore is such a huge part. In fact, Bangalore absorbs more real estate than Vietnam, Indonesia and Shanghai put together. Vietnam, Indonesia and the Southeast Asia countries put together.
Oh, wow.
It absorbs more, the last 3 years, they have absorbed more real estate than Shanghai. So Bangalore is a fairly large market, and we are Bangalore. So we were Bangalore-based, we are Bangalore-based. So we want to get the product right in our home turf. So that kind of took a lot of time. But when it comes to scaling up, when we got the product right, so the scaling up, we actually faced a similar situation any company would have faced in scaling up. But the biggest challenge was not the COVID. It was the narrative that office would be passé, office would close down, it is work from home. So those narrative, which was very, very, I would say, challenging, and to overcome that. And there were companies which were making headlines. On one side, they were saying, we would ask all our people to work from home. On the other side, they are taking and leasing out office spaces, left, right, and center. So they were dichotomy in the news itself. But then, as I said, eventually people realize that offices are here to stay. It is not work from home, but it's walk to work. People need offices. There will be a hybrid model. There will be a collaboration. We are a social animal. The way the schools are not going to be redundant because the online education is there, offices are going to be there, right? So it is the same philosophy and theory which will go for it.
And which market was like a really tough one to crack for indiqube while entering?
So we divide the whole India in micro markets. So we have about 50 to 60 micro markets in India. Right. So like the few micro markets, we call it green zone, meaning by no matter even COVID happens, it is insulated. Nothing would happen. There will be a lot of demand. It will be a single digit vacancy. So we have markets like in Bangalore, Koramangala, HSR. Always green.
Zones.
Like you have Pune, Baner, green zone.
Green zone.
Bombay, Andheri, Metro, green zone. So it will always be green. So no matter whatever happens. Then you have a yellow market in which there will be demand, but which will take time to pick up. You know, so it will be like a periphery market. It will take. So you have to take position then in there itself. And then there are micro markets which are red zone, in which no matter whatever you will do, you will not take the supply. So for example, in Bombay, you have Navi Mumbai. In Pune, you have Hinjawadi, right? So the supply is huge. So we will not, so we usually do not enter in the market where the vacancy is in double digit. Wherever the vacancy is less than in the single digit only, then we will enter into speculative. When it comes to double digit, then until unless we do not have a client, we do not enter in those market because then those are red zones market.
Since you mentioned green zones and red zones, and what are the prospective markets that, you know, that are currently looking like green zones for indiqube?
Oh, they're tier 2 and tier 3. It was tier 3 cities.
Which ones in specific?
Specific Coimbatore. It's a huge surprise, you know, because of the talent availability, the cost of living, and the quality of life. All three, fantastic inflection point. Coimbatore is our next large market. We already have about 5 lakh square feet there, and we are growing. And the quality of companies which are coming is outstanding. It's fantastic. Then the company and the micro market like Kochi, Madurai. Beautiful markets, you know. The demand is huge, and in fact, the problem with these markets are the supply. The good buildings, are not there, you know, because that is not the way the city was kind of built up. So in fact, we are working with a lot of landlords to kind of build the buildings now. But these markets are fantastic.
But tell me, Meghna, and this makes me very curious. When you are deciding, okay, Kochi looks good, Coimbatore looks good to indiqube. When you decide to enter that particular market, what is the approach there? What is the strategy? How do you go about it?
So, so when it comes to office space, I tell you, the talent and the space, you know, they goes hand in hand, right? So we usually do the heat mapping first, you know. That is very important because India is a very big country, right? And so we can, for example, why GCs are coming here? It's just not the cost arbitrage. The cost arbitrage is gone. Those things are passé. It is the talent availability. I can open an office in Texas, but where's the talent? They need 100 technical architects. Do you have I can have the building, I have an office space, but where will I get those talent? So they have to come back to India, right? So it is the talent availability. So if you see Coimbatore, Kochi, the talent availability is huge because of the presence of the engineering colleges and all. The youth, the demographic. So you have to study that. You have to do the heat map and accordingly you will go. Plus we have a strategy, we call it bullets and cannons, meaning by we will fire bullets. We'll take smaller offices, smaller spaces like 25,000 square feet, 25,000 square feet. And then we see how the market is performing. And then once we set our market, then we will fire cannons, you know, then we'll take the entire building, you know. So that is just like taking the baby step first, establish in your market, and then they'll go for the bull run.
Yeah. And what are some of the strategies that you use, you know, when you enter a new market to attract new members to your space?
It's actually a culmination of multiple strategies. So one strategy, I would say the acquisition strategy, if I can say so. Like, you know, for us, location is the key. The location is very, very important. It has to be A+. I do not mind a B grade building. So what we do, we go to a location A+, we take a grade B- building, we work with the landlord, we upgrade it, we renovate it, and we give our client grade A- experience. My clientele is not looking for grade A+. My client is very happy with the kind of pricing he's ready to give with the grade A-, but a grade A+ location. So location is important for us. Secondly, if you've seen initially people would go to the city. They would you know, stay in the center of the city. Last 10 years, nobody wants to stay in the CBD. Now, again, people are going back to the CBDs because of the metros. So wherever the metros, because of this connectivity is improved, so we are now looking for a lot of buildings. In fact, 50% of my portfolio, we do a lot of renovated buildings. Older buildings, we would renovate and we upgrade them. So the location is very, very important for us. So this is one very, very thing. Then the offering, then the kind of clients, for example, if you go to Jaipur, if you go to Pune, so Pune, it is more than the startup, the market is of the offshore development centers, GCC. So their mindset is different. But if you come to Bangalore, then it is more startup-led. If you go to Chennai, it is more SaaS companies-led, you know, because they call it Zoho Mafia, right? So everybody's in Chennai. So they have a SaaS platform, all those companies. So they have a different mindset. So, but when you've been in this industry for so long, then you understand those demographics and then you work accordingly.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today and thanks for sharing these insights with us.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.